What do foot massages and charcoal have in common? Very little, except for the fact that they are oddly related to this tutorial. How to make an exfoliating charcoal foot scrub. Did I mention it foams? Now, during the course of this tutorial, I went a little overboard and made 3 foot scrubs: charcoal, spirulina, and chocolate foot scrubs, as seen on this palette right here. Each are available on my Etsy page here at etsy.com/shop/scent-evoker. Now, the best thing about this tutorial, it can either be hot or cold process. Let's check out the equipment. First, we'll need a main mixing beaker to mix everything together. If you're doing a hot process, you'll need a metal beaker. It's also handy to have spatulas for mixing and scooping. It's also handy to have at least one beaker exclusively for measuring, and occasionally mixing chemicals. And speaking of mixing, you'll need any motorized mixing device like the one shown here, preferably something, hands-free. And lastly, you'll need a scale, preferably something that can measure small gram quantities. For the chemicals in this tutorial, we've broken them down by various phases. Going from left to right, we will start with phase A, which involves mixing deionized water, glycerin, and xanthan gum. And in phase B, we only have sunflower oil and the emulsifier polyglycerol 4-laurate. In phase C, we have the surfactants decylglucoside and cocobetane. And in phase D, we have 2 active chemicals: activated charcoal, not to be confused with regular charcoal, and pumice. And lastly, we have our preservative, in this case, good old phenoxyethanol, to prevent bacterial growth. So in our first step, we've set a beaker full of water on the mixer. And first, we're going to add 12 grams of xanthan gum to the beaker. We're mainly using xanthan gum because it's really good at holding exfoliants like pumice in suspension. Alright, now let's put this in the main beaker. And remember, if you want to learn more about xanthan gum, check out our xanthan gum video to find out more about where it comes from and exactly how it works. Okay, now remember what I'm about to tell you. It's very important. Maybe more important than your social security number. Add xanthan gum little by little to the mixing water to properly disperse the gum in the liquid. This is the best way to avoid clumping. So you only have to leave this mixing for 20 minutes or so before it gels up, and we can continue to the next phase. Okay, now that the xanthan gum solution has gelled up nicely, we can continue to phase B. Also called the oil phase, in phase B, we are going to weigh out 45 to 48 grams of the emulsifier polyglycerol 4-laurate. Alright, almost there. Excellent! And now, since we've weighed out our emulsifier, we're going to weigh out a slightly lower amount of sunflower oil to blend with it. Let's say about 40 to 41 grams. Cool! Now, so that the emulsifier does its job properly, we're going to mix everything together for a minute. Alright, now we're ready to dump this in the main mixing beaker. Now, you might be saying to yourself, "What the hell, MDB? That did nothing." Just wait a few seconds and make sure your mixer is properly moving the entire solution. You'll see the solution start to turn white. This is the result of emulsification. On to the next step. Okay, here we have 156 grams of decylglucoside, a surfactant made from corn and coconuts. And to that, we're going to add approximately 80 grams of cocamidopropylbutane, or cocobutane for short. It is a high-foaming secondary surfactant made from coconuts. There we go. These surfactants will give our scrub great cleansing power. Alright, so now we're adding the surfactants to the main mixing beaker. Keep in mind that we haven't even used heat, and we're getting pretty good results so far. Well, at least I'm impressed. Next, we're going to add the actives. The first active is, of course, charcoal. Just like xanthan gum, make sure to disperse it gradually while mixing to ensure even distribution. After 2 to 5 minutes, your solution should turn black or grayish black. You should then be ready to put in the second active, pumice. And just like charcoal and xanthan gum, you want to pour it in slowly and close to the middle where the vortex is to guarantee that it spreads evenly throughout the solution. And lastly, we add our phenoxyethanol for preservation. Of course, there are plenty of other chemicals you can use to preserve your product as well. And there it is! The perfect blend to simultaneously moisturize, exfoliate, and detoxify your feet. It can be easily pumped, and as an added bonus, it nicely fits into jars and can be scooped by hand. Not bad, huh? Thanks again for watching. The formula we use is in the description below. And if you like our content, hit the like or subscribe buttons. Until next time, MDB out.